In the quiet town of Eldridge Hollow, where the whispers of the trees echoed secrets, a chilling tale unfolded. One stormy evening, Jessica, a timid schoolteacher, sat alone in her dimly lit home, flipping through an old diary she had found in the attic. The diary belonged to a woman named Mary, who had mysteriously vanished decades ago. As she read, an unsettling feeling crept over her. The last entry spoke of a dark figure that haunted Mary's dreams, watching her every move. Jessica's curiosity piqued, but fear gnawed at her heart. She couldn't shake the feeling that the strange occurrences happening around her were somehow tied to the diary. The local children had been speaking of a shadowy presence lurking by the old oak tree in the cemetery. Animals had gone missing, and she herself had started hearing faint whispers at night. Determined to uncover the truth, Jessica gathered her courage and decided to visit the cemetery that very night. Armed with only a flashlight and the diary, she made her way through the pouring rain, the sound of thunder rumbling like a warning above her. As she approached the ancient oak, the air grew cooler, thick with an ominous energy. Suddenly, a gust of wind surged through the branches, and she thought she saw a figure dart behind the tree. Just when she was about to turn back, a voice called out from the darkness, sending shivers down her spine. "Help me!" the voice echoed, a mixture of desperation and sorrow. What would Jessica discover as she faced the horrors waiting in the shadows? As Jessica stood frozen, the hair on the back of her neck prickled. The voice echoed again, pleading for help. She took a cautious step forward, her heartbeat loud in her ears. "Who's there?" she called out, her voice trembling against the rising wind. The darkness swallowed her words, but then the figure emerged, shrouded in shadows yet unmistakably human. It was a woman with eyes full of terror that seemed to pierce through the night. Jessica's gut churned as she recognized the woman from the faded photographs in the diary. It was Mary, the very soul who had vanished years ago. "You shouldn't have come here," Mary whispered, her voice barely audible, yet it carried the weight of 1,000 unspeakable horrors. "They won't let me go." Jessica stepped back, fear clawing at her instincts. What had she stumbled into? The stories, the warnings. They were all true. As Mary reached out a hand, Jessica caught sight of something behind her, a dark silhouette lurking in the trees, watching, waiting. Panic surged through her veins. Without thinking, she turned and ran, her flashlight flickering and casting wild shadows across the cemetery. The wind howled like a pack of wolves, chasing her along the winding paths. But Mary's voice followed, echoing through the abyss. "Help me, before it's too late." Could Jessica muster enough courage to return and face the entity that haunted both Mary and the town? What pull did the darkness have over her, and how deep did the mystery go beyond the haunted tales? Jessica stumbled through the dark, her mind racing faster than her feet. The reality of Mary's plight gnawed at her. If she left now, would she be abandoning a soul trapped in torment? Her heart ached, torn between fear and guilt. As she neared the edge of the cemetery, the shadows seemed to elongate, ominously stretching after her like malicious fingers. Breathing heavily, Jessica paused. The darkness behind her felt alive, quivering with anticipation as though it yearned for her return. She could still hear Mary's voice whispering in the wind, urging her to come back. In that moment of indecision, the shadows shifted, and from their depths a new figure emerged, this one far more menacing than Mary. There was a resolute chill in the air, sending shivers down her spine as the silhouette stepped forward, revealing itself in the faint moonlight. It was a towering entity with hollow eyes that seemed to absorb any light that dared to approach. Unlike Mary's desperate appearance, this figure radiated an aura of authority, almost as if it had been waiting patiently for Jessica to return. "You sought the truth," it crooned in a voice that was soft yet cruel. But truth is not for the faint of heart. Adrenaline pounded in her veins as Jessica turned back toward the old oak tree, its gnarled branches reaching out like pleading hands. "What do you want from me?" she cried, desperation lacing her voice. As the shadowy figure closed in, Mary's spirit flickered in and out, desperately trying to reach her, to warn her. Caught between the pull of the past and the weight of her fears, Jessica felt as if her choices were slipping away. Would she confront the shadow and learn the horrifying secrets of Eldridge Hollow, or would she flee into the night, leaving the haunting memories behind? Only time could unveil the true cost of her curiosity. The darkness pressed in around Jessica like a living entity, thick and suffocating. She could feel the weight of unseen eyes on her, witnessing her every move. Her instincts screamed at her to run, yet a profound sense of duty rooted her to the spot. The whisper of Mary fluttered through her mind, urging, pleading, waiting. You must confront this. Whatever it is, Jessica thought, clenching the diary tightly, feeling its pages promise untold secrets of the past. Gulping back her fear, Jessica slowly turned back to face the shadowy figure. What do you want from me? She called out, her voice echoing eerily in the cold night air. The darkness shimmered slightly, and the figure took a step forward, revealing a face that was both captivating and terrifying. With an otherworldly grace, it extended a hand, its fingers elongated like blackened branches. To free her, to free yourself, it replied in a silvery tone that blended with the rustling leaves. You hold the key, dear child, but your heart must be willing to embrace the truth, even if it shatters you. Jessica's heart raced as indecision washed over her. To learn the truth would mean delving into the very fears that kept her awake at night. But could she live with herself if she left Mary in this shadowy torment? Drawing a deep breath, she stepped closer to the entity. What must I do? The figure smiled, a chilling reminder of the darkness and light intertwined. Follow me, and the answers shall reveal themselves. The words settled heavily in the space between them, and before Jessica could reconsider, she found herself crossing the threshold back toward the ancient oak tree, drawn into the waiting abyss. As she approached the tree, Mary's figure flickered into view once more, her eyes pleading and hopeful. Don't let them take you, Jessica. You have to fight. The warning resonated deep within Jessica, igniting a fire of bravery buried beneath her fear. In that moment, she realized the true battle was not just for Mary's freedom, but for her own as well. Would she go down this path armed with light and hope, or would the shadows of Eldridge Hollow consume them both? Only one journey could lead to liberation, or despair. As Jessica ventured closer to the ancient oak, the air thickened with tension and anticipation, the shadows wrapping around her like a shroud. She could hear her own heartbeat pounding in her ears as she braced herself for whatever lay ahead. The branches of the tree whispered, swaying gently as if urging her to listen to the secrets they held. Mary's apparition hovered near the base of the oak, her ethereal form flickering like a candle in the wind. You must summon your strength, she whispered, her voice trembling yet filled with urgency. The darkness seeks to manipulate your fears. Do not let it. Jessica took a deep breath, steeling her resolve. She had come too far to turn back now, and the idea of leaving Mary trapped in perpetual torment haunted her. I won't abandon you, she promised, her voice barely above a whisper. The wind howled, sending a shiver through her, and for a moment she felt the weight of the unseen entity pressing against her, testing her will. With newfound determination, Jessica closed her eyes and concentrated, drawing upon the words written in the diary. Instinctively, she began to recite the passage that had once chilled her to the bone. In the face of fear, the light shall guide those who dare to confront the unknown. As she spoke, a faint glow emanated from her hands, illuminating the darkness around her. The shadows recoiled, giving way to the warm light that spread like wildfire. Mary's eyes widened in disbelief and hope, urging Jessica to continue. You have the power to set us free, the spirit exclaimed, her voice stronger now, reverberating through the stillness. The towering figure lurking at the edge of the shadows shrieked in fury, its hollow eyes flashing with menace. No, it boomed, stepping forward, but Jessica's resolve only strengthened. This ends now. With every word she uttered, the distance between them widened as the darkness began to dissipate. Every ounce of fear she had ever felt, every doubt that had clawed at her heart, transformed into a brilliant shield. Clutching the diary, she felt the energy pulsing through her, grabbing hold of the spirits trapped in the limbo between worlds. But would the light be enough? Would she succeed in freeing not just Mary, but herself as well? As the shadows threatened to close in once more, the outcome hung precariously in balance, each heartbeat a testament to the battle between light and dark.